Welcome back, everybody, to the Retro Blood. As we start off a brand new month here in the month of July, a hot ass month here in the month of July 2025, and the Retro Blood is back on YouTube and the podcast talking 1980s deadly shark movies. First for us. First month for us on here. All right. And we're starting this one out hot because we are back in 3D land. All right. Because we are talking some deadly great white sharks that will sneak into your local SeaWorld. It will hide in a pipe until it catches its prey on these local SeaWorld visitors and staff members. Because if y'all like the Brody's kids being back, if y'all like flying dead fish in 3D, alright, if y'all like some jack dude whose arm is floating in 3D, if y'all like drama with one of the Brody kids not wanting to be in water, and then he was in water, and then he almost got attacked by a shark, but he didn't, and then he left the movie, and he was really useless. And if you like a big ass shark with a jaw a mile long, breaking up in tubes and crashing through windows in 3D, this is the review for you, brother.
Review
for you, brother, because our Retro Blood is continuing this Jaws train because we are talking about the biggest blockbuster of the summer of 1983. We're talking about Jaws 3D. J.H. Alison, James Kline. What's happening, Alison? I'm fired up. Are you fired up about Jaws 3D?
Dude, I am excited about this, man. I've wanted to do this movie on the show for a long time. And I didn't know how we were going to do the shark thing because we don't, Jaws 1 and 2 are not in the 80s, but we figured out a way. And now we're doing Jaws 3. It's super exciting. Super exciting. Well, can't wait to hear what you thought about this because it's your first time viewing it.
I'm so amped up for the biggest blockbuster of 1983, Jaws 3. I mean, fucking, there's only a couple things I got to say right off the bat. Move over Free Willy. We don't need you. move over Little Flipper. We don't need you. And you know what? That fucking movie that's coming out in a couple years, Jurassic Park, fucking ripped off this movie. And I'm going to go to my grave with that now, brother. Okay? All right?
Jurassic Park is very similar to Jaws 3 in a lot of ways.
All right.
So just think about this. Now, keep this in perspective, right? So we just saw Jaws 2.
Yeah.
It came out on the 4th of July, I believe, that episode with the lights out. So we just saw Jaws 2 in this 1978. So we waited 5 years for this. We waited 5 years for a new Jaws movie. And we finally got it, Jaws 3D. This is going to be fantastic, right? It's going to be the best of all of them.
All right, let's be serious. Alison, what the fuck was going on with this movie? We waited 5 years for this shit. Like, this movie is like the most, like, we're going to make a good franchise and we're going to 80s the fuck out of it. That's what basically we're doing over here.
Yes.
No,
they 80s the fuck out of this.
Long gone are the days of us in the water at Martha's Village. All right. Long are the days.
We're at SeaWorld. We're at SeaWorld now.
We're at SeaWorld Orlando.
Yeah. So, one thing that I was going to say is I haven't seen this movie in a really long time.
Yeah.
In few years. And what it reminded me of is it's very, like you said, it's very 1980s. It reminds me of like Footloose, but with sharks.
Mm-hmm. Well, I thought for sure. Bro, at the beginning, when that K girl was talking to the dolphins, I'm like, is this Little Flipper? What is going on here? All right. What? Remember that wasn't there a popular like dolphin movie, with Flipper, right? Isn't that a popular?
Flipper, that was. Well, I don't know how popular it was, but it's a dolphin movie that happened, and it was a remake of a TV series, I think.
Yeah.
But anyway,
and we had a fucking whale.
Wow.
All right, beat that Jaws one. You got no fucking whale. All right?
No. Mm-mm.
You didn't got no Jack dude's arm in the water in 3D. You didn't have that. Come on.
No, or floating fish heads in 3D.
This is something.
When you watch the movie,
it's something.
When you watch it in 3D, it's pretty amazing because that fish head is just floating like right in the middle of your living room or whatever. It's great.
I do like it. So this is our third, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Third 3D movie that we reviewed, and so we kind of gone down the list so far of the 1983's horror 3Ds. You know, we did Friday the 13th 3D, which is so far my favorite 3D movie so far that we've done on the show. And then last year during our Halloween reviews, we did Amityville 3D, which you gave a lot of praise for. And I thought it was so with the flies being in 3D. But, you know, I mean, come on. We got Jason stabbing people in 3D. We got Amityville flies in 3D. But did they have a fucking shark in 3D breaking through some glass? No, they didn't.
Nope.
All right.
That was quite an effect, wasn't it?
What the hell's going on here? And like, okay, I didn't really hear this, but I read this on my, and we'll talk about it with the Who Booked This shit. Because I was watching this, I didn't watch this movie when I was in a hotel because I was traveling. So the audio wasn't the best, but did the shark make sounds? Like grunting sounds?
I think it does make noise, yes.
And like, sharks don't have vocal cords. How is this? Is this like a special vocal cord shark?
I guess so. Well, I mean, there's all kinds of things in this movie that sharks don't do, but well, I mean, it roared kind of in the first one.
There you go.
In some ways,
that works.
Kind of.
So, but everybody, it's gonna be a fun month. You know what I mean? It's gonna be a shark. We try to line this up with Shark Week, but we're doing Shark Month over here at the Retro Blood. So if y'all like seeing sharks, you can just come here to the Retro Blood, brother. We'll talk about all these 80 sharks all day. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
So before we get going, this is a continued podcast from the boys at the Lights Out, who on July 4th, our Independence Day here in America, we dropped Jaws 2. So if y'all want to hear myself and Alison's thoughts on a different format, go check us out on YouTube and all the podcast stuff out there. We were talking all about Jaws 2. Really good discussion I thought we did on Jaws 2. Very fun.
Yeah, it was great. That was a good show. Fun show.
And, you know, I broke on that one. I'd never seen this movie before. And, you know, I didn't really know what to think. I knew it was going to be a little bit more, like, different than the other ones. But I didn't realize how much different we're talking about here. I mean, it's like another universe when it comes to Jaws movies over here. So, but we'll get all into it. We got some fun stuff coming up. But like every Retro Blood, and this Jaws 3D isn't, you know, different. We're going to be talking about what is going on in the world of the pro wrestling and the metal music around the release date, July 22nd, 1983. All right. So we're deep in, we're kind of like in the summertime, which I would guess most of the Jaws movies pretty much all came around the summertime, you know, just because of the success of the first one. So this is kind of like their version of the summer blockbuster, I guess, in 1983 was the Jaws movie. Okay. So, but what was going on in the metal and the wrestling though during the summer months of the 1983? We're about to talk about it.
We're about to find out.
So I'll go first because I got something really short when it comes to the pro wrestling. All right. So at this time, we had a couple events going on. I tried to watch this one show of Mid-Atlantic from the Peacock. I didn't get to finish it because I've just been super crazy with my shoot job. But I did get to see it's like an episode. I think it's like July 23rd, 1983. You can find it on the Peacock from Crockett. Not Crockett, but that Mid-Atlantic. Yeah. So just the beginning of this had Ricky Steamboat and Jay Youngblood, and boy, you could there was no scripting on this promo. They were just talking like two good old boys from the island.
Oh yeah,
it's something to see. Compared to
that's how it should be.
Okay, it's something to see compared to what the promos we get nowadays, especially in NXT, where it's everything scripted and so formatted. This guy just come out here talking like two good old island Southern boys. But the one I have on here, this one's pretty fun. It's Jim Crockett Promotions held an event in Richmond, Virginia. The card featured several significant matches, including NWA World Champion Harley Race defeated Ric Flair by disqualification, continuing their notable rivalry leading to Starrcade '83. So this is the year of the Ric Flair and the Harley Race feud, which was a pretty fun
quest for the gold. Isn't that what they called it?
Yep.
Quest for the 10 pounds of gold or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we have, prior to their famous dog collar match, which we have talked about before on this podcast, Roddy Piper defeated NWA U.S. champion Greg Valentine by disqualification. This is a prelude to their brutal dog collar match. So we got two big-ass matches in Richmond, Virginia at this time. So really cool stuff to see. The pro wrestling. Like, 1983, like, I would say it's my favorite area of pro wrestling. But this era of pro wrestling, there was a lot that was going on at this time. This is like, like we're getting into very close to having McMahon do his expansion. Crockett is about to like form, and to pretty soon going to become like WCW or WCC, or World Championship Wrestling. Yeah, they're about to do that for Mid-Atlantic. There's a lot of stuff going on at the time. And then basically this is like the rise basically of Ric Flair during this era, 1983. Yes.
Yeah, so this is Ric Flair going to the top, right? Basically being the biggest wrestler of the time until Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, and this is like the babyface run. So if people are not familiar with it, this is like the kind of like the babyface run of Ric Flair when he's facing Harley Race. He wasn't like the style and profiling guy yet. He was getting to that point, but he would get to that point kind of after he won the belt, and that's when he started going a little more heel. Because they had him go heel basically because he had to be a traveling champion, and it's easier to be a heel as a traveling champion than it is to be in a babyface traveling champion, because if you're a heel, people will come to say you get beat up in all these different towns and stuff, basically states and towns.
Yeah.
So cool stuff.
Yeah, because your local champion is gonna win the world title, right? But he never does.
Yeah. Do you think Philip from this movie, the guy that got ate by the shark at the end, even though he's supposed to be some great shark hunter guy or whatever, you think he would have challenged? Yeah. You think he, in another life, he would have challenged Ric Flair for the title?
Oh, he might have challenged him, but he would not have won.
Yeah, well, he didn't win.
He would have been destroyed. He didn't win against the shark either.
I didn't want to get that shark either, brother. Got ate up.
Yes.
So we found something else too. I thought was pretty fun when it comes to the metal music. All right.
Yeah.
Around this particular time. Do you want to talk about this one, Alison? I think it's pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean we can both talk about it a little bit. So what we'd be listening to around this time, it came out a couple weeks beforehand, was Manowar's second record, Into Glory Ride.
Yeah.
So this is this album. They still hadn't got it. To me, they still hadn't got as good as they would get.
No, definitely.
But they had started adding more like sword and sorcery, fantasy type stuff to their music.
Yeah.
But this does have some pretty good classics. It's got Gloves of Metal, it's got Secret of Steel, and Gates of Valhalla, which are all three really good songs. But yeah, Manowar was like, I don't know if we've ever talked about them before, but they're like the metal band, right? They're like the 80s metal band. They're not hair metal. They're just straight up power Viking metal, I guess, is whatever you want to call them. Still together to this day, in some lineup. But they also invented the phrase, which I use all the time, "Death defaults metal."
Yeah.
And I champion metal and pray for death defaults metal all the time. So I took that kind of from the band Manowar. But I mean, this is a pretty good record. It's not as good as the albums they would make in the coming up years, and it has that weird cheesy photograph cover. They hadn't got to the painted covers yet.
What's going on?
Yeah, they couldn't afford the painted covers, but this one has like them standing on the front.
One guy looks like he's off He-Man.
Yeah. And the other guys look like they're wearing their stage clothes on that photograph. But yeah, I don't know. It's it's a look. It's something, right? But
have you listened to
I don't know. Yeah, I listened to it. I mean, I've heard this record before, but yeah, I like this album a lot.
Can you answer a question?
I think it's. Oh yeah, sure. Go ahead.
So when I turn on this record,
and
I played the song "Warlord,"
I knew you were gonna say that.
What the hell's going on during this?
I have no idea. There's like a 2-minute sample of what that sounds like a porn movie at the very beginning of it.
And then so
I don't know what that's sampled from off the top of my head, but I bet I can find out.
Well, it's kind of like this girl's moaning, getting some Manowar. Yeah. She was getting some Manowar in her.
Manowar.
All right. And next thing you hear is like, what the fuck? She's only 16. I'm like, wait a minute, what?
What is happening?
What the hell's going on here? And then they go into like the metal. I was like, that's a different. That's a new one.
It's a different time, man. It was a different time. That's the only thing I can say.
So I was like, okay.
I can say about that.
I was like, yeah, you guys a little wild. This album is okay, but I think I agree with you too. Later on in the Manowar catalog, they do get a lot more refined with their sound. So, but it had some okay stuff on here. I like the song Revelation, Death's Angel. That song was really good.
Yeah. So. Yeah, that's a good one too. So it's actually a pretty good record. It's not as good as they would get, but it was pretty good.
Did I tell you where that was sampled from, or?
So supposedly it's not a sample. They recorded that.
Oh, okay.
To what I just found in my 2.5 minutes of Googling.
Oh yeah.
But supposedly they. Supposedly they actually just recorded that for the album. But yeah, it's like one of the guys in the band is making out with this other girl at the beginning of it, and she's making all the noise, and then Joey from the band's girlfriend is the one who shot. She's only 16.
So they were just joking, or she really was?
Yeah. No. It's just a skit, but it's like they acted out a skit for it, so it's not a sample from any movie.
That's interesting.
But yeah, so we learned something with the people in real time, so that's awesome.
There you go, man. Sometimes you gotta make your own skits, brother. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly, absolutely.
It just I've heard a lot of like intros and stuff. That one was definitely a new one for me. I was like, I'm sorry. All right.
Yeah, when I played it, I was like, how long is this going to go on? It's like 2 minutes long. Yeah. Just them like in this little skit about them like fucking some girl who is apparently 16.
Hey, you know what?
1983 was a different world, man.
Our boy, Sean Brody, he seemed like he liked the young ones. But,
ooh, ouch.
We'll see what we got going on. All right, everybody. So let's get into who booked this shit.
Yeah, who booked this shit?
Some stuff about Jaws 3D. So, just like we did in our Lights Out review on Jaws 2, we did talk about the director on here, Joe Alves. Okay?
Yeah.
I believe he did a production on Jaws 2, and he was the man who was tasked of directing this 1983 cinema-style film. That was definitely interesting.
And he worked on Jaws 1 and 2 and a lot of Close Encounters and Sugarland Express from Steven Spielberg. So, I mean, he had a good track record of things to work on.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Then he made this. I think this is the only movie he ever directed. And when you watch this movie, you'll find out why.
It's definitely something. So, like we talked about, this film obviously was the... part of the craze of 1983 making everything into 3D movies. Now, I believe, Alison, when we talked about Amityville and Friday the 13th 3D, basically 3D is like one of those things where it's like it just like sneaks its head in every couple years. All right, I believe you said it started in the 70s, right? And then
it started in the 50s. The 50s, so like it's like an every 30 years thing. So we missed it this past. Well, actually, 3D did come back 30 years later, ironically.
Yeah, because of TVs. Yeah.
So basically, 3D was a big deal in the 50s. Because nobody ever seen anything like that before. There's a lot of sci-fi movies from the 50s and horror movies that were in 3D. House on Haunted Hill, I think, was in 3D. One of the Creature from the Black Lagoon movies was, I think it was the second one. Bunch of movies in the 50s. And then it just kind of dies out because, it gets oversaturated. And then in 1983, the early 80s, there was another spat of 3D movies again. So, you had Jaws 3, you had Friday the 13th Part 3, Amityville 3D. I remember seeing, in 1983, I remember seeing a movie called Space Hunter and the Adventures Beyond the Forbidden Zone in 3D, which I have on Blu-ray in 3D. That's a fantastic movie, but it's mostly probably like nostalgia. It's like the first 3D movie I ever saw. The only one I would see for years, but, so it would come around 30 years later, it had like a resurgence and around this time. And then 30 years later after that, 2013, it came back again. Like the people were going to see 3D movies again. And now that it died off again.
Because we did on Lights Out. You got to check it out in the archives. My Bloody Valentine 3D.
Yeah.
So it had, and then there was a couple movies from the 2000s, like you were saying, that were in 3D as well. Yeah. And then that's when we had
you can actually
go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say you can actually see Jurassic Park or Jurassic World Rebirth in 3D if you'd like. It came out in 3D this week.
Oh, interesting.
So you can go see a 3D movie this week if you'd like to. To Jurassic Park.
Fine, brother.
You can't go wrong, right?
This 3D just creeps its head out everywhere.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
So Jaws definitely got that treatment.
For sure. And what a treatment it was.
So apparently, here's what they were saying about it, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So cinema audiences could wear disposable cardboard polarized 3D glasses. That's the way they used to do it, brother.
That's how they used to work, yeah. They were one...
Yeah. Not those... I was
gonna say one was blue and one was red.
Yeah. Not that fucking nice glasses you get nowadays, brother. You know what I mean?
No. 3D works a lot different now than it did then. Yeah. Back then, it was just an offset image. Yeah. And then the two 3D glasses, the polarized glasses, brought the image into a depth. And then now 3D can be either powered glasses, which are better, but most 3D movie theaters have the disposable glasses, but they're plastics. They're a little bit better. But as always, nobody really uses 3D for its full effect, so most people don't like it anymore. But it's one of those things. It's a rant I could go on.
I do remember though about the old red and blue. You know what I mean? If you didn't watch the movie in 3D, it would just look all funky.
Yeah, it would just look blurry, like it was a double image.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I told this story when we did Friday the 13th Part 3, but I saw that in the theater in 3D. Not in 1983, but I don't know, 15 years ago or something maybe.
Yeah. It's pretty sweet.
With red and blue glasses.
Yeah, the red and blue, yeah. I forgot which one I see. I know I've seen a 3D movie with the red and blue before, but I just cannot think off the top of my head what it was. I think it was a horror movie, but I just can't remember. But yeah, it's something like I like 3D now is a lot easier on the eye. So if you don't want to watch it in 3D, it's a little easier. But back in the day, brother, that shit looked like horrible. All right. So several shots and sequences were designed to utilize the effect. Well, no shit. All right. Such as the shark's destruction, since 3D was an effective in-home viewing until the advent of 3D televisions in the late 2000s. The alternative title Jaws 3 is used for television broadcast and home media. So basically, they use Jaws 3 because it is a third part of the trilogy, I guess, and it's also known as Jaws 3D. So 3 and 3D is basically the names of the movies. All right. So, to a lesser degree than its predecessors, Jaws 3D was still a commercial success despite overwhelming negative reviews. All right?
Strange.
Because we have a budget of $18 million, but it made $88 million at the box office.
So it did pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't go as good as the other ones, but it did pretty good.
Well, to be honest with you, I mean, the first two were pretty classic movies, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So it's kind of like
you're gonna go see this one, right? Because the other two were good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Because it's kind of like if you have a big hit, obviously the first Jaws was, and Jaws 2 was maybe not as big of a hit, but it was still up there. You know what I mean? For one of the best, sequels to a movie. You're like, fucking man, this franchise right now, I know we've been off for a little while, but it's running on full cylinders. Let's go watch this fucking thing. They're going to modernize it. We got new technology over here. It's going to be in 3D. What can go wrong?
Right. It's like in it's a modern movie, right? It's in 3D. It's amazing.
Exactly.
It's going to be fantastic. It's got that Dennis Quaid guy in it.
Yeah. Got Quaid up in there. Come on now. What more do you need? All right. So we got some development of the Jaws 3D. So David Brown and Richard Zennick, the producers for the first two films, originally pitched the second Jaws sequel as a spoof named Jaws 3 People Zero.
That would have been much better than what we saw. That would have been fantastic. I would have loved that.
I'm still
Jaws 3 People Zero.
I'm still waiting for the USS Indianapolis story. We ain't doing that one apparently.
Yeah. No.
So, in 1979, Variety reported that the film would be produced by Maddie Simons, fresh off the success of National Lampoon's Animal House, with Zanuck and Brown serving as executive producers. Simons outlined a story and commissioned National Lampoon's writer John Hughes and Todd Correll, for the script. Joe Dante was briefly pursued as director. The project was also to star Bo Derek and Richard Dreyfuss. All right.
Yes. So, so it was going to have Bo Derek and Richard Dreyfuss. I guess he was going to come back to play Hooper again.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
But Joe Dante, that would have been great. You know, he's a great director. But then we ended up with this. Yeah. So,
they kind of the original idea, I guess, for the third one was to make it more comic relief for some reason.
Yeah.
I guess. So, but the project was shut down. As Steven Spielberg, who directed the first film, managed to convince Universal to not make the film by threatening to never work with the studio again. Is that a shoot? That's crazy.
Yeah.
He's like, don't be hurting that movie that made my career. Don't be doing your stupid comedy on that shit. All right.
Wow. Yeah.
So, but however, Industrial Magazine also reported that the project failed because Zanuck and Brown wanted to produce a PG-rated film, while Universal wished to include material which would have basically have the film to be a rated R. So that's one of the things too. So basically, I guess Brown is they were pretty much looking to do like a PG nice Jaws movie to be kind of like funny or whatever. All right. According to Simons, Zanuck and Brown preferred the original script, while Simons also had other creative differences with the Universal. David Brown later said that the studio attitude was that a spoof would have been a mistake, and that it would have been like falling in your own nest. Fouling in your own nest, I guess.
Yeah.
I thought he himself felt that the project would have been a success. So, I don't know, man. What do you think? A spoof of Jaws? Success?
I think the spoof would have been better than what we got. I think the spoof would have been funny. I mean, Blades was funny, and that was a spoof of Jaws.
Yeah, I guess. Come on, man.
But I don't know. It would have been funny.
But it would have been in 3D. All right, come on now.
No, it wouldn't have been in 3D. So the whole thing would have been a waste, right?
Yeah. So Alan Langsberg bought the rights to produce the film. All right. He attempted to involve experimental filmmakers Murray Lerner in Jaws 3, telling him that the people at the Maryland theme park in Florida had seen his 1978 3D film Sea Dream. You ever see Sea Dream before?
Nope.
Me either. I have
not seen that.
Lerner said that his heart sank when he was sent the first script of Jaws 3D, saying, "I can't really get involved in this."
I don't have anything to do with this shit.
Why not? Come on, man. We got the Brody kids. We got one guy trying to fuck that blonde. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, I don't have anything to do with this shit.
Has the production already had an art director? Leonard, who didn't like the script, declined to be involved in the film. The film was directed by Joe Alves. That's how basically he was like I guess he was like the third choice by now.
Yeah, yeah. And he was basically a production designer, so he wasn't even a director. He didn't. He didn't direct movies, and he never directed a movie after this.
Yeah. Yeah, because basically, like Alison was saying, it's a project designer, and he was the guy that they wanted to when they were trying to find the director for Jaws 2, they were trying to have him co-direct it, but they couldn't do that because of the laws at the time where you couldn't have somebody in the film direct it.
Yes.
All right. So it had been suggested that Alves okay, I already talked about it. It was filmed at okay. So it was filmed at SeaWorld Orlando. All right. And I was like, because they said that in the film. It's like the grand opening of the SeaWorld. I was like, wait a minute, SeaWorld? I mean, like the famous sea park?
Yes.
Because I thought it was going to be like a fake, amusement park. You know what I mean? Because, listen, we're in the 80s, brother. But my conscience sometimes is in the 90s. So I was getting like heavy duty Jurassic Park vibes from this film. You know what I mean?
Right.
We had the park manager guy. He got a shark into his lair. He wants to, a deadly creature that's never been supposedly has never been in captation before. And he wants to have people come and take a look at it. Just like Jurassic Park. We had the fucking real monster sneak in and destroy the park, just like in Jurassic Park. You know what I mean?
Right.
We had kids getting in danger. We had guys saving kids, and we had one guy who doesn't like the water. You know what I mean? Like they had very similar vibes.
It's very similar.
All
yes,
right?
It's very similar.
But I did not realize that they actually used the real Orlando SeaWorld Park for the filming of this. Yeah. Really cool.
Yeah, or SeaWorld had been open like 10 years when this movie came out. So yeah, but they filmed it, as far as I know, they filmed it at the real Orlando SeaWorld.
Yeah. Pretty interesting stuff. As with the first two films in the series, many people were involved in writing the film. Richard Matheson, who had written the script for Steven Spielberg's 1971 television film Duel, which we talked about in Lights Out before, says he wrote a very interesting outlook, although the story is credited to some other writer. Universal forced Matheson to include Brody's two sons, which the writer thought was dumb. He's like, I don't want to have the Brody kids show up. All right. What did you feel about them Brody kids in there?
I don't see them. I cannot see how they could possibly be the same kids from Jaws 1 and 2. But maybe. I mean, who knows? I did want to say a little bit about Richard Matheson, because I did not know he wrote this, and I was shocked to find that out.
Yeah.
He is a very, very good writer.
Yeah. He's
a very famous writer of novels and of TV series and some movies. He wrote the book that I Am Legend was based on. He's written a bunch of things. He wrote a book called A Stir of Echoes, which they made into a movie. He is a very, very, very good writer. And then he wrote this. So I'm not really sure what went wrong. I mean, it seems like he just needed a paycheck. But they did change it, though. They Grunt and Carl Gottlieb began to rewrite it. And then that's probably why we ended up with what we did.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds about right. So they also wanted it to include the same shark that was electrocuted in Jaws 2. How the hell did that work out?
The literal same shark?
Yeah.
Not just the same prop, but the same shark. It would survive the electrocution somehow.
Yes, I guess it would have been. Yes. Matheson was also requested to write a role specifically for Mickey Rooney, saying that when Mickey Rooney turned out not to be available, the whole part was pointless. So the writer was unhappy with the finished film.
No shit.
All right, and this is basically what he has to say, if I may.
You may.
I'm a good storyteller. Okay. And I wrote a good outline and a good script. And if they had done it right, and if it had been directed by somebody who knew how to direct, holy shit, this guy's doing some shade. Yeah. I think it would have been an excellent movie. Jaws 3D was the only thing Joe Alves ever directed. The man is a very skilled production designer, but as a director, no. And the so-called 3D just made the film look murky. It had no effect whatsoever. It was a waste of time. Well, tell me how you really feel.
Tell me how you really feel.
Yeah, put some shade on the Jaws.
I'm guessing he did not like that.
I like it when they I like when they get all antsy like this. You know what I mean? I like it.
I mean, I'm sure he's defending his reputation after putting this shit out.
So I guess Gordon Trueblood, that's a real last name?
I guess, yep.
That's a great HBO show. Is credited for the story. A reviewer for the website Sci-Fi Film says that the screenplay was based upon Trueblood's story about a white shark swimming upstream and becoming trapped in a lake. All right.
Okay.
And then Carl Gudible, I don't know if I said that right, had also revised the screenplay for the first two Jaws films, was credited for the scripts alongside Richard Matheson. So it was kind of like, kind of what you were saying. We had Richard Matheson kind of do an outline, and these guys kind of fucked it up.
Right.
All right. Matheson has reported in interviews that the screenplay was revised by script doctors. Dan, this guy's, who is this Richard guy? We didn't get him on there. Is he still alive?
Richard Matheson?
Yeah.
No, he's dead.
Damn it. This guy is he's just putting he don't give a fuck out there.
No.
He don't give a fuck.
No.
He's like that. These guys suck ass. These fucking script shark dudes and shit. I was like, God damn. So Alves said in an interview in June 2020, that's a long time ago, that apparently 20 minutes of footage were cut from the final film due to Lamberger's insistence.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I guess that film and stuff is
so it should have
lost.
been yeah. So it should have been 20 minutes longer, but I don't know if I can handle 20 more minutes of this shit.
So the character of Clive Bouchard, played by Louis Gossett Jr., was originally intended to be the shark's final victim. Through the producers enjoying his performance so much, the script was rewritten for him to survive.
Yeah, in case they made a sequel to this.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the casting. The film did not use any actors from the first two Jaws films. Roy Schneider. I always fuck up his name. What was it? Roy what?
That is Roy Scheider. That's right.
Oh, okay. Just rolls off the tongue. All right.
It does.
Who played Chief Martin Brody in the first two films, laughed at the thought of Jaws 3, saying that I don't know what he's talking about with this word. It said that
it doesn't matter.
It basically says like they couldn't talk me into doing this. They know better than to ask me.
Yeah. So he did Blue Thunder, so he wasn't, so he wouldn't be available for it. Blue Thunder came out like a month before this, and it's a fantastic movie, by the way. If you've never seen it, it's about a helicopter.
Well, I mean, if you all listened to our review of Jaws 2 on Lights Out, which you should have, we talked about Roy Schneider not basically he didn't even want to do Jaws 2.
Right.
Like he was doing it.
Wasn't going to Jaws 3.
He was doing it to get money and to get the fuck out of his contract. Who the fuck thought it was a good idea to get him back?
Right.
He's like, well,
he definitely did.
Maybe the studio's like, well, it's been 5 years, so maybe he's come around. Nope, apparently not.
My favorite part is where Dennis Quaid said he was on coke during every scene that he's in this movie.
Yes. What? Okay. Really? This guy acts pretty good on coke, though. Like, he didn't seem too jittery and nothing. He, interesting.
No, he handles it well.
He said he was high and on coke every frame he was in this fucking movie.
Yes.
You think he would have been good in Friday the 13th Part 5? They had all kinds of coke. He would have been
fantastic in that. There was all kinds of coke in that. He would have been fantastic in Friday the 13th Part 5. Fortunately, they couldn't have afforded someone of his... well, he wasn't a star yet, but he had been in a bunch of movies, and he was going to get pretty famous pretty quick.
I don't know, man. I don't know if I believe him too much on that one, but I guess if he says he was, I guess you know what I mean. So
yeah, I got to take his word for it.
Yeah. Let's see what we got here. All right, so the film was heavily promoted before its wide release across the U.S. as with Jaws 2. Topps produced a series of trading cards. Television stations were encouraged to broadcast the feature Making of Jaws 3D, Sharks Don't Die, and a primetime slots between July 16th and July 22nd when the movie came out. And to take advantage of an advertisement in the week's issue of TV Guide, Alan Lansburg Productions found itself in trouble for using 90 seconds of footage from the National Geographic 1983 documentary, the film The Sharks, and the feature without authorization. Shit. Oops.
Shit.
Shit. Oops. It happens, you know what I mean? Just spicing a cup of real shark shit over there. You know what I mean? No harm, no foul.
Exactly.
Right? You know what I mean? We just want kids to think sharks can break through glass. No problem. No problem.
Yeah, it's not a problem. I'm sure that's possible.
So let's see. Okay. So a couple of facts about it, then we'll get to the full review. The filmmakers initially planned to have a very few pop-outs effects, okay, where objects extended beyond the screen in the 3D studio. Executive ultimately pressured them to include more. More, brother. We want more. All right?
Oh, yeah.
Friday the 13th had a bunch. Where's your guys' at?
We got to have more of them. We got to have floating fish heads.
So they were worried that the audience would leave disappointed and spread bad word of mouth that the 3Ds were used mainly for depths. So they wanted more 3D stuff. Okay, in later interviews, Dennis Kwan referred to this movie as "I was in Jaws." What? He further elaborated that he hated making the film and had been high on drugs throughout shooting, stating there's not that cocaine, yes. So basically, I guess he didn't like the film either. I guess he didn't like it. He wasn't a big fan of it. On there,
no,
he's done some pretty good shit. This Dennis guy has. So
yes, he's a very famous actor.
Yeah. All right, the shark.
He did not like this though.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? It is what it is, brother. The shark is said to be 35 feet long, despite budgetary restrictions keeping the film from providing a true sense of scale for the creature. 10 feet longer than the previous films. All right.
Okay.
So it says the only Jaws movie not to be directly made by Universal Pictures. It was made by Alan Landsberg's production, like we talked about. So that's pretty interesting. Because remember, they sold the rights to it.
Yeah.
Let's see. The female dolphin called Sandy in the movie is really a male dolphin named Capricorn. He currently, I don't know if it's currently now, but he currently lives in Discovery Cove, which is owned by SeaWorld Orlando, and has interaction with guests like giving them rides and doing tricks for them. Capricorn is 50 years old. But this article could be a little old, so I'm not sure if he's still around or not. But they used to.
Dolphins. Yeah. Dolphins still live a long time, so maybe he's still there.
They used to shoot dolphin.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we could get the dolphin on the show, and we could interview him about Jaws 3.
But we can interview the dolphin if he's still there.
Maybe, yeah, if he's still there. Yeah.
I want to know this dolphin though. I'm gonna be like, bro, like I liked your performance. Like, why did they not get you for Flipper? Like, what's going on here?
Right. Exactly. Like, why did you get out of acting as soon as this movie was done? Like, you just did this, and you were the star of this movie. You could have gone on to do anything you wanted.
Yeah,
you were the outstanding performance in this for sure.
Yeah, we talked about this the 3D movies. There's a lot more than I thought. All right.
Hmm.
They have Parasite is in 3D apparently. The Man Who Wasn't There, Silent Madness, Dogs of Hell. All right, Space Hunter Adventures in the Forbidden Zone.
It's a classic.
And Treasures of the Four Crowns. So we're just getting the gamut over here, brother. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was a lot of 3D movies in 1983.
Okay, so they're saying this has a similar plot-wise to Revenge of the Creature, film credited by Leonard Maltin. Even asked if this is an unofficial remake of Revenge of the Creature in 3D. So, have you ever seen Revenge of the Creature?
Yeah, that's the second Creature from the Black Lagoon movie. I'm trying to think of why he would think that. Well, okay, I guess I could kind of see that. So in Revenge of the Creature from the Black Lagoon he's in an aquarium in Florida. It's not an amusement park, but it's like an aquarium where you like go to see fish and stuff, and he's like floating around in there.
Gotcha.
So I mean, I guess I could see that. I guess I could see how it's kind of a remake of Revenge of the Creature, where all these people are going to this like, amusement park to see all these to ride rides and see all this fish and that kind of thing. And then all of a sudden there's this creature in there that's killing them all. So it's kind of cool. Revenge of the Creature is much better than this, though.
Yeah.
But
was it in 3D?
It was. Revenge of the Creature was in 3D.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess it is better then. All right. So they're saying some of this, and we'll break down this when we do a review. So they're saying that the characters are mirror aspects of the original. Of course, Dennis Quaid has Chief Brody's son is the leader. Mm-hmm. The Roy Schneider. Simon McCorkindale is the shark hunter, a la Robert Shaw's Quint. And Bess Armstrong is, of course, the wife, like Laurie Gray. But she also is the logistic expert ocean scientist, like Richard Dreyfuss with Louis Gossett Jr. films. And Mary Hamilton has the mayor shoes, has the corporate head caring more about money than Shark Attack. So I guess if you break it down like that, yeah, there's some of the characters that are very similar to the original. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, very interesting. I guess we'll get into it, though. We will see if Jaws 3D is like the original Jaws, but in 3D.
Surely just as good, right?
Just as good, brother. This is the 80s, man. We got new technology. We're at the SeaWorld. We got cocained up. All right? Fucking Mike Brody. All right, we got Sean Brody over here trying to get some tail. We got Jack dudes. We got skiings. We got chicks in bikinis. What more do you need for a Jaws movie?
What more do you need? I wish I could have watched this movie with you just to see the look on your face.
It was confusion, and I was like, what's going on here? What's up next? But let's get into it, everybody. Let's get into the Jaws 3D.
Let's do it.
A creature alive today has survived millions of years of evolution. It lives to kill, a mindless eating machine that will attack and devour anything. One terrified you like nothing you have ever experienced when it captured your imagination and tapped your fear like no movie before it. Then, just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water, two continued the legend and spread the fear. Next summer, nature's most terrifying creature takes on an all-new dimension in an all-new adventure. And for the first time, the terror of Jaws will not stop at the edge of the screen. Jaws 3D. The third dimension is terror.
All right, so we start off with some shark vision. It's back.
Yes.
It's made its return to the Jaws series. Move over, Jaws 2. You didn't got you don't got no shark vision anymore. You don't got no 3D.
No.
Move over.
No, we had to bring back the shark vision for this.
So the shark in shark vision eats a fish, and we see a dead floating fish head in 3D, Alison. Can you believe that?
Man, what an effect. What an effect.
I mean, just take my money. I'm done. That's it. Yeah. That's all you need, brother.
Yeah, you got your money's worth right there.
Yeah, right there. What's the
problem? You paid your $5 or whatever you
Yeah.
paid in 1983 to see a movie, and
I'm ready to go.
What else do you need? What else do you need, brother?
Who would have thought you would see a dead fish head in 3D?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So then we get the intro all in 3D because, you know, we're in that era. So we get a group of young adults skiing and doing that pyramid gimmick. But like, I like how they were like doing the pyramid gimmick that probably took like a bunch of takes, and it was like all covered up by the credits.
Yeah, I'm sure they worked really hard for that, and then it ended up being
they just all over the credits. You couldn't even see them how to do without this shit. So of course the shark follows them because that's what sharks do. They'll follow moving things in the water like that. All right, and they all get out of the water before the shark can get them. All right, so now now we're having the first meeting of SeaWorld, where these new girls are going to get their jobs working in SeaWorld. And the lady's like, if y'all wear shorter shirts than you're wearing right now, you're going to go back and start flipping burgers and cooking fries.
Wow.
All right?
Yeah.
This is SeaWorld, brother. This is one of those high, rare jobs for teens, brother. Okay? Don't be out here wearing them shorty shorts. What do you think this is? 1983? Come on now.
Yeah. No, you can't do that, right?
So this is the part right here in the movie that made me think of like it's Jurassic Park, because we had this like older guy explain the whole park to us about how it's like the world's largest water park and stuff like this, and I was just like, is this Jurassic Park? What is going on here? Because we know something's gonna get fucked up in the park. You know what I mean? It's like a given.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the park is on the news and everything. It's making the news about all this stuff. All right. And we see that the owner, Calvin, he's the owner of the park. Okay. He's watching all the skiers. Okay. And while this is all happening, we hear the Jaws remake music on this film. And this is when we see Overman, who, let's just say, if this guy was not on Annabelle, I would be surprised. Because he was jacked, brother.
He was.
Fucking Ultimate Warrior and shit like that. Hulk Hogan, brother. Where was this guy at? Well, how come he wasn't a wrestler? Where was he at? This guy was jacked. Did you see his traps there, Alison? Golly.
Yeah.
He could look like he could have choked out the fucking shark.
Yeah, it was like, he looked like Triple H when he came back from that injury in 2000, where he was just like super fucking jacked. He was like 291 or whatever.
This guy was like this, brother. He was just like, what up? And he's all like out there in the suit and everything. And he is the gate watcher. Because that's what his talents are for, brother. Security. Because he's jacked.
Yeah.
Imagine that job. You sit out on the beach all day, stare at women in their bikinis. You're jacked as shit. And all you got to do is go in the water, close the gate, and come up and hang out.
Yep.
So this is when we meet Matt Brody. I believe it's Matt. Or is it Mike?
It's Mike.
Mike Brody, sorry. Michael Brody. He is back, brother. He's all grown up now. All right?
He is.
He's been traumatized in Jaws 1 when he was in the lake, even though he was trying to console his daddy. And then he was tricked into taking a sailboat out in Jaws 2 to get some pussy that he never got. And he almost got killed. So he's having all this traumatic experience with sea creatures and the sea. And what does he do? Well, he became a marine biologist and he works at SeaWorld and he loves the sea now.
Yeah. So super traumatized in the water. So he becomes a marine biologist. Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah. Makes sense to me. You know, if you were traumatized, Alison, you know, about something in your childhood, you know, what do you want to have a career at it and see it every day of your life?
Hell yeah.
So that's what our boy Michael is thinking. All right. So basically, this is, you know, we're just getting a bunch of shots of him going around the park and everything. He's fixing up all the stuff. So now the owner, Calvin, says they're going to have I guess a famous shark hunter or a famous shark. No, he basically, the guy he's kind of like the guy that would work on National Geographic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He'll go out there and take the really hard pictures to take of sharks and he would sell them off.
Right. Exactly.
All right. Which used to be a very lucrative career. Like doing photos back in the day for like National Geographic, they used to make like a shit ton of money doing that shit.
They did. They did indeed.
I'm not sure about now. I think Al Gore screwed that up when he created the internet. But you know, basically back in the day, brother, to see them exotic animals, you had to go on National Geographic and shit like that.
Exactly. You had to you had to go and they took pictures and you saw them in the magazine. Remember what magazines were?
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing,
Come on,
right?
Brother. So Calvin basically tells all the press, listen, let's not see all this SeaWorld crap. We got free drinks to drink. Let's go get fucked up. I'm like, I like this guy. So but now we're seeing the crew with the jack guy. All right. They're saying basically the gate got a little jammed. All right. So so the jack guy over him is going to go fix it up. And this whole time, Brody was complaining to all his crew members, "Don't get any overtime, I swear." So now 1983 corporate greed has now taken over Joss 3D.
Yeah, no overtime.
How dare y'all? Especially you over him, you're jacked guy. You're not going to get no overtime.
Mm-mm.
You don't need it. How about you stay at the gym for 2 minutes? Then you get your overtime. I like my notes here. Flipper is stuck in a cage.
Yep. That's fantastic.
From Flipper, brother. All right.
Mm.
Sandy is his name, which is actually a boy. But Sandy is the girl, Flipper Shark. All right. This is when we meet Kay. She is like our hooper of the story. She's a marine biologist, shark hunter girl that knows stuff about sea people and stuff. And she's brave and everything like that. And she is fucking Michael. Okay, but they don't know what they are yet. They're kind of just like a I don't think they're like a summer fling, but they've been dating for a little while, I guess. All right. All right. So and I put in my notes the hot one leaves. That's just Trisha. She was like the other girl that was there. All right. So now I put in my notes. They're hanging out with Free Willy now. You ever watch Free Willy? Remember that? That was a big.
Nope.
I've
never. That was a big deal, but I've never.
As a kid, I loved Free Willy, bro.
I've never seen.
The fucking whale jumped over the rock over the kid.
Yeah, never.
He freed him.
Never seen it. Never seen it. I'm sure it's a classic though.
Come on now. Then they got that one scene where the flip is the whale's going over the kid and he falls on him. Oh, that was funny.
I'll watch it. I'll look for it on streaming.
It's a sad movie, but it's a good one. It's way different than what we're about to go over. All right. All right. So now the crew is saying so they're basically saying some of the dolphins, they look a little nervous. Like some of the dolphins are playing, but some of them are not, and they think that's kind of weird.
Right.
And then Kay is she plays with Sandy, and then Free Willy as well too. Phil. Okay. And this is when Kay and Phil, Fritz Wade from London, start talking to each other. Okay. And they talk about how Phil, he likes his job of shark taking pictures because it not only is it his pleasure, but it's his business too. Okay. So, sure. And he's supposed to be like, he's basically kind of like a daredevil in a way because he'll go into all kinds of different situations and take pictures of sharks. And he's been world renowned for it, basically. And that's why Calvin is very high having him over for the grand opening of SeaWorld. You know what I mean? Because, so this SeaWorld, they have sharks. Oh, let me break this down. So the SeaWorld has sharks in the tanks, okay? But we'll find out later that, the great white, they apparently, and I don't know if this is true, but I assume it was, that there was never been at this point a great white that's been stuck at the, in an amusement park, basically.
Sure.
Right? So that's what the point of this part was. So now Mike and Kay, they start talking to this cowboy looking dude. Okay.
Yeah.
And this is when we see the jacked overend guy. He's watching the gate and now he's going under the water to close the gate, jacked. He gets scared for a little bit. Then he gets attacked by a shark in 3D. Alison, have you ever been attacked in 3D before?
I have been. Well, yes. Okay. So I've been attacked, and my life is in 3D. So yes, I have been attacked in 3D, but never by a shark.
Okay, well, 2 out of
never
3.
By a shark.
2 out of the 3 ain't bad.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
So not only did this shark bite our boy over him and kills him, but now we have a floating jacked arm in 3D. Move over, Friday the 13th. We don't need you no more. We got a floating arm, brother.
That's all we need.
So at the bar, that's where we're at now. This scene was cool. Like this scene right here reminded me of Friday the 13th Part 2. Remember they're all at the bar together. So this kid's
this is the part
up,
that I thought was a lot like Footloose, like that part in Footloose where they go to the other town so they can go drink at the bar.
Yeah, very similar. This was like an 80s thing, like really early 80s thing and stuff with kids drinking at the bar. We need more of that in horror movies. Now that everybody's all depressed and shit, where's the kids drinking at the bar?
Exactly.
All right, come on. All right, so the guy, he's being all upset, and basically they're saying that this is when we meet Sean. Okay, Sean Brody, the younger.
Sean Brody.
Remember
the younger kid.
Remember him from the Jaws 2? Everybody, he was the guy on the fucking boat who wouldn't.
He was the little kid.
They were like trying to give him the rope, and he was all sitting there, all sad and everything.
He was the little tiny kid that tricked his brother into taking him on the boat. But now it's 5 years later.
Yes,
and he's like 25 years old somehow.
Yeah, exactly. Time goes fast in Jaws land.
It does. It does.
So his big thing is he's scared of the water, okay? Mm-hmm. And he sees this girl.
Why.
Yeah. Well, yes.
He almost got eaten by 2 different sharks.
Yeah, a couple, yeah. So the big thing about him is he's meeting this girl named Kelly, and they're doing, I guess, a game they used to do in 1980s bars where they would do standoff, where you would stare at somebody until you'd break at the bar.
I guess. I've never heard of this game, but I guess it's something he used to do in 1980s, yeah.
So he does the gimmick, hey, my fly's open, and she gets all like nervous and falls down. Mm-hmm. I was like, God damn, it was so easy back in the day. You could just say the dumbest lines, and these chicks loved it. All right. So now they all go back, and Sean brings that Kelly girl along with them. They're all drinking everything. They all talk about the park. This is when we find out Kelly's working for the park, I guess for the summer of the grand opening. Sean is flirting with the chick, all right, and then a cutscene. We have 2 unnamed dudes randomly whispering on the beach, and I could not hear what the fuck they were saying the whole time. All right. Then we have. I
have no idea. I don't know either.
Then we have some comedy where the waitress comes up to the group at the bar, says who's paying, and they all point to each other.
Hilarious.
Ha. All right. So now we go on the beach. The guys are on the beach now. They're in their 3D gear. That's what I put in my notes. All right. And because we kept seeing like crabs and all this kind of weird shit in 3D. All right. Mm-hmm. You ever had crabs in 3D there, Alison?
I've never had crabs, period, man. I watch where I stick my shit.
Yeah, but imagine if you had crabs in 3D, though. I mean, come on.
No.
Oh, God. All right, so they're whispering the whole time. These are like these other guys that came and see them. The Brody crew. Now the Brody crew is leaving with the chicks. Mm-hmm. Okay? And Sean agrees to drive Kelly home because he wants some ass. Okay? Mm-hmm. But Kelly wants to go swimming. But Sean doesn't want to go swimming because he doesn't like the fucking ocean.
So I have a question, though. So why is he there, period, if he doesn't like the ocean? Why does he live in Florida? Why does he live in Montana or something?
No, he does. No, remember that he doesn't live in Florida. They said he was visiting from. I don't remember.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true. You're right. He was visiting. That's why he was wearing a cowboy hat. Yeah, he was probably from Texas or somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. It was somewhere. It wasn't Texas, but he was visiting from somewhere. I think it started with a C, but he was visiting from there just to visit his brother for the opening of the SeaWorld.
Okay? Right. Okay.
So then Michael now tells us the story of Emmy. Okay. And he goes over like how he used to love that place and everything. And, now this place is like his home a little bit in Orlando. But he says, I got a call from Venezuela. And I might have to be getting on out of here. Mm-hmm. All right. But then Kay's like, well, I got these other jobs lined up too. So they had to really talk about their relationship, basically. So it was one of those things where, like I said, they weren't married. Kay and Michael, they were kind of just dating, and Michael, he pretty much said like, they got this big opportunity in Venezuela, you know what I mean, to do more shark and sea stuff, even though I was traumatized as a kid from it. So then they're basically were saying at this time, when all that stuff happens, they're gonna figure out their relationship, basically, Michael and Kay. So now Sean and that girl from the bar, Kelly, they get in. She gets in. They're going by tents and stuff, but now she's starting to take it off. Take it off. Take it off. That's an old school one right there. You don't remember Take It Off? From fucking Black Roses?
Yes.
Early Retro Blood?
That's classic Retro Blood right there.
Take it off. Take it off. Yeah.
That was a great episode. That was a great movie.
One.
People should go watch that.
Yeah, go watch it, brother.
Listen to that episode.
Yeah, that's early Retro Blood shit, brother. All right?
Yep.
So now Sean wants to get some ass, but she goes into her bikini, goes into the water. She's like, basically, if you want to get the shit going, you got to get in this water. All right? And he's going like, well, I had something when I was a kid. And, boy, shut the fuck up and get in the water. All right? We don't give a shit about your trauma. All right? So basically, they kiss and they both go in the water. All right. So now I put in my notes, 2 dorks are rafting, trying to catch some fish for money. Like, I don't really get what their plan was. It was those dudes that was whispering on the beach. I guess they were trying to go into the SeaWorld, and they were trying to capture fish to sell it to the opposite of SeaWorld, I guess.
I don't know. I have no idea.
River World?
Yeah. River World. I have no idea what's going on here. I don't know what they're trying to do. I think it's just something I don't get.
Well, it's basically, it was booked for them to die. Okay?
Right.
One was named Randy. All right? And that's what we get. So
long, Randy.
Randy gets killed by 3D crabs.
Yeah.
Well, supposedly, or probably the Jaws. I just want to make sure I just wanted to see if he did get caught by 3D crabs. All right. So basically, he gets caught and dies in the ocean. But so his friend can't. Basically the friend was like, Randy, you okay? And he's not answering. So pretty much he got eaten. So now Kay sees that it's Kelly's car is still there. So now they see. Oh, they're like, oh. Did they get him in the water? Let's go check. So then Mike, a cockblock, was all like, hey, you two over there are swimming in the SeaWorld's waters and shit like that. And then Sean's like, well, my brother says he works here and stuff. And then he realizes that his brother was the one doing the radio, so they start playing around a little bit.
Yeah.
They start play fighting. All right, so then after all the play fighting happens, the guy who's on the raft gets taken down by the shark and he gets eaten too. Okay. And then the shark takes the raft down too because we could tell it's going to be a big shark because it took the whole raft down. All right. So next morning, Mike and Sean and Kay, they all wake up hungover and they start eating. All right. This is when Michael's going over Sean. They talk about coffee and stuff. And how Mike was cop blocking him from fucking last night. Then Mike gets a call and he's getting called into work. All right. We see Flipper in 3D. Huh? There you go.
It's amazing.
Y'all want to see some dolphins in some 3D? We got it for you.
We got it.
All right. Sandy seems nervous about something. Gee, I wonder what it is. So we have a guy from the London newspaper, all right, that goes and meets Philip. All right, so he's there. I think his name was, oh shit, I don't think I wrote his name down. I think it was Jack or something. All right. And Philip Fitzroy is there. All right, Mike is, they're talking to Mike and everything. And so while this is all happening, Michael goes to check out some of the water pressure, and we get the jacked dude's girlfriend shows up all pissed off because Overham didn't come home last night. All right. And Mike just thinks he got drunk in some ditch somewhere and he's going to go find him.
Right.
All right. But then the girl was like, well, I don't want anything actually bad happen to him. I was just saying he's an asshole. All right. But she doesn't want no harm to him. She doesn't mean no harm. So now, let's see. We see some more 3D dolphins. We get some 3D. So this is when they take the Laguna. It's kind of like I guess it's like an underwater. Like if you're scuba diving, you could take something to kind of help you guide through the water.
Right.
All right. But we get it in 3D.
Mm-hmm.
I bet you never done that before. You never lagoonered in 3D, Allison.
Hell no.
How dare
I've
you?
Never done that.
How dare you talk bad about the lagooner 3D Jaws? All right.
If I've never done it myself, I know. What could I say, right?
So all the dolphins are starting acting up right now. I put in my notes. Damn Flipper, stop acting up. All right. They all swim around and stuff. They're all swimming around. Everything's 3D right now. Everything. And then we finally have the shark. He shows up in 3D. All right. And then this is when we have Michael and Kay. They grab Sandy and they flip her away to safety.
Yeah.
But the shark follows them the whole time. All right. Shark kind of gets Flipper a little bit. All right. And then, basically they all rest up, and now they send a message to Calvin about, hey, there's been a shark. There's shark in these waters, and it's in the actual the shark is actually in the park right now. It's in the water park right now. It's a great white in the shark right now. All right. All right. All right. So this is when the crew kind of decides what to do with this shark right now. Okay. Basically, Calvin wants to, try to capture it and figure out something with it. Fritz Roy wants to kill it on camera. Okay. But Kay says no. All right. This is the first time that there's been a great white in captivity. All right. So she wants to keep it there, and basically she wants to keep it there and kind of like tranquilize it, and then see how it does in captivity. If it's not, then she's gonna want let it go for free. Let it go. All right. And Michael just saying, well, these things are killers. I know because back in when I was younger and stuff, I knew all about these sharks and stuff because they're just cold-blooded killers.
Right.
All right. It's like me and my whole family know they're just murderers.
They are. Yeah.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you. So now Kay tells Kevin they should trap it and nurse it back with the, and then she's like, that would be way more profit than if we just killed it. And then so Calvin agrees. They're gonna trap it and they're gonna keep it in captivity. Okay. And then of course Michael's trying to talk Kay out of it. All right. And then but she's gonna go in the water because it's her job. All right. And now Philip is going to go with them to try to help capture the shark. But he's bringing explosives, and Mike freaks out about him bringing explosives, and they all deny him bringing his explosives that we're going to be talking about later. Because Michael's like, I helped build up this port. You'll be bringing them explosives around here. All right.
No.
All right, so now Kay needs one good shot, basically. So they're basically trying to go find the shark right now. And Kay's basically going to tranquilize it so they can bring it into like one of those containers. Because right now it's in the big, it's out of the gate that the overroom was at. So it's in the big water of land in SeaWorld. But they want to get into a smaller hub. You know what I mean? Because where it's at right now is that's where everybody goes skiing. That's where everybody goes, diving and fishing in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they go and Mike talks about only basically Mike only gets one shot. They all talk about they can only get one shot on this thing. So now Kay is in the water at nighttime, by the way. They do this all at nighttime. Can you believe that? Like, why the fuck is it at nighttime? Like, isn't that more dangerous?
I don't know. Maybe. I guess so. Yeah. I mean, I would think so. Yeah. Maybe they think the shark's asleep. I don't know.
No, it wasn't because he attacks
It wasn't.
Kay's air tank. Getting revenge for the first movie. Getting that air tank before it gets him. All right. So Philip tries to stab it. All right. And Mike shoots the shark in 3D. Have you ever shot a shark in 3D?
I have not. No, I have not.
You're just not living, man.
No, I need to get out more for sure.
Do everything in 3D. All right, so they all get out and stuff. Mike checks on Kay. Philip says it was a close one. All right. I just call him the British guy. Needs help getting his stuff out. And then Mike tells Calvin everyone's okay. And then Calvin's like, "Oh, that looked dangerous." So they so now they call the shark Bruce. Oh, I get it.
Wonder where that joke came
I
from.
wonder where that came from. So because now because basically they got it tranquilized. So now it's in the tube, and they call it Bruce and stuff right now. And now Kay is so basically Kay and that Trisha girl, they're kind of like nursing the shark a little bit in like the little tube area. And then Michael comes over saying like, he's kind of nervous about it. And then basically Kay like nags him to getting in the water and helping him. And Mike's like, "Get out of the water, Trish. I'm going to do it. I'm going to show you I'm a man." So then they start like rubbing on the shark. And then the shark wakes up and they both freak out and they get out of there.
Right.
All right. And then Kay is still all excited that it's the first great white in captivity and tells the others, "Don't fuck with it. Don't be fucking with my shark."
Nope.
All right. So this Alison, this is when we get some skiing in 3D. All right. We have opening of the SeaWorld or the Sea Kingdom. We get Free Willy shots. Mike tells the guy who looks like the crocodile hunter about where he can find the shark at.
Yeah.
I wonder if that was a crocodile hunter. That guy looked exactly. And he did say crikey at one time.
He's definitely from Australia. Yeah. Like Crocodile Dundee.
Yeah. So now Calvin's holding Mike responsible for the Jack dude fucking up the gate and him leaving, basically. So now Calvin's getting numbers from his boy Leroy. All right. And then Calvin wants that shark in the tank that the visitors can see it because he wants the numbers up. Okay.
Right.
All right. And we see more skiing. This is when Kelly meets Sean, and she's off work right now, and they're about to go for some rides. They're gonna do some rides at the Sealand. All right, so we have kids. We have these kids going underneath this tunnel, this underwater tunnel. We have 3 young girls, and they get scared by some sort of 3D squig animation thing, animatronic thing. Sorry. Kay's going to miss Mike about him leaving. Mike wants to do a serious conversation about their relationship. All right. See what happens.
Right.
So then, after all this, Kay hears the announcement that the Great White's going to be on display, and she freaks out and wants to get on out of there.
Yeah, because it's going to die.
Yeah.
Because you can't keep a wild animal like that on display. It'll kill it. But we'll find out in a minute.
Yeah. So basically, she gets there, and right when she gets there, the shark's kind of like on its back. And she's like freaking out, like, "Oh, get out of there, everybody. We need help. And basically, the shark dies. Because I guess it was in too shallow of the water or something like that. It just dies and rolls over, and she's all upset now. All right. So then, after all this, okay, Kay wants Sean in the water, and they go on a motor. So basically, Kelly wants Sean in the water again, and they go on these little water tube things. Okay, and this is when we get the shark vision. It's back. All right, so we have 3 girls. They're still going through the tunnel, and then while they're in the tunnel, this is when they see the floating, dead, overeem, jacked body decaying. All right, so we see that we see a scene of Mike and Kay checking out Overeem's dead body to prove that was him. Mike opens it up. He starts to puke. Kay looks at it because she wants to see if there's any shark bites, and she does see some shark bites, but the shark bites were bigger than the shark that they had.
So that means it's not the same shark.
It's a swerve. We had a swerve in this movie. Can you believe it? All right. So basically says, "Oh my God," and she's like, "We got to get out of here." Okay. So now we have Philip, and is talking to Calvin about the shark screens. So basically, we're in this area of SeaWorld that it's like a little lounge area, and all around us is like some like shark, like a shark tube. So you can see sharks flying around and everything
shark
like that.
Shark tube, yes.
All right. So Calvin gets a phone call. All right. He says, "I don't want to hear it, Brody. Just shut down pump number 2. I say, no, it's like, he gets a call from the main water hub, okay, saying that the pump number 2 is messing up, and they needed to use pump number 1, but they needed like Brody's like confirmation first. And Calvin's like, I don't need Brody's confirmation. Just shut down pump number 2 and do pump number 1. You know how much those pumps cost? They cost too much.
Sure.
All right. All right. And then we see. So now this is like Calvin and Philip and Jack. They're all having drinks, and then Kay and Michael walk in. They come in. They say, hey, we got a big problem here. We looked at that body. It was over him. And he had a shark bite on him that was a yarn across.
Oh, what?
A yarn across.
Okay.
It's a big ass fucking thing.
Yeah, it was huge.
And he said this, he had a bite range, basically, that was a yard across. And it's 35 length. So we got a big boy out here. All right. And then Kay explains that the baby was inside the park, but also the mother was also inside the park too. All right. And then we keep getting shark vision on them right now. And then they all see it now. They all see the mega 35-inch length shark. All right. Calvin tells them to seal the park up. She wants to leave the water. Or Sean wants to leave. All right. We cut to a scene where Sean wants to leave the water. All right. But he's still staying on there. All right. So this is when they all start panicking, basically. So Mike goes out there and starts panicking and everything. Tells everybody to leave the water. Leave the water. He's all acting like a crazy man. He takes this person's bike. He like crashes and everything. He falls down. I was like, God damn, man, calm down. He must have been in coke during this scene, I guess.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Do a little coke.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Film this scene. I see. I feel him now. I feel it.
Yeah, it helps. It helps.
So now Calvin goes to the water level. All right. Mike's crazy. That's what I put in my notes. And he's trying to basically start everybody from skiing and everything. So they all start seeing the shark now. All the skiers start seeing the shark. And all the girls get out. There's a group of girls that get out of the water. Then we have this other group of skier girls. They see the shark. They all fall down. They all get out the water. And they all scream. And basically, during the whole scene, the shark doesn't get anybody. All right. So now the shark is going to where Sean is and Kelly is. And Sean and Kelly got knocked off the little raft thing. And right when they got knocked off, that's when the shark attacks. And the shark actually bit a little bit of Kelly's leg. And then they are able to escape the shark out of the water from there. All right. I put in my notes, Mike's a maniac. He drives his boat right on the beach. Almost runs over a bunch of people. All right. All right. So now Kelly's leg's all fucked up. All right. And then basically, Kay is telling her crew, we can't let that big bitch get out of that hole.
No.
All right.
That's tough talk right there.
Yeah.
It's like Terminator talk.
Yeah. So Michael's now asking Sean if the Kelly's okay. She said it's okay, and they're just gonna have to close the park. All right, so now Calvin is telling everybody in the park they temporarily have to close the park down, and if everybody can leave the tunnel in an orderly fashion. And then he freaks out when the microphone's off, saying he needs some light and medical attention. So then all the people from the tunnel were leaving, and some girl says, "Hey, Dad, look at the fish." And it's the great white in 3D. A huge-ass 3D shark now we see on our screens. What did you think about this shark, Alison?
Oh, dude, it was amazing. So this is the scene where it shows it. They use stop-motion animation for the shark.
Yeah.
But they're so fucking lazy that they don't even have the shark move very much. Like, in stop motion, you have to move the shark or move the thing a little bit and then take a picture. And then when you put all the pictures together, it makes a moving image, right? But they were so fucking lazy. The tail only moves once. Like it's floating along, and then the tail like swishes one time, and it just keeps going with no swishing at all. It's just like, oh my god! Like they couldn't even do that right.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a big budget movie. This is not like, an independent movie that just didn't have enough money. I mean, this is fucking Universal Pictures that made this fucking thing.
No. It wasn't Universal.
Holy shit. Oh, it wasn't Universal. You're correct.
Yeah.
You're correct.
Yeah,
it was not Universal.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
Yeah, but still, I mean, this is a big budget movie. And,
yeah, it's 18 million.
There's no excuse for this shit.
Yeah. So the Great White tries to break the glass. All right. And then they basically close all the doors in them. And we got this whole group of people kind of stuck in the tunnels right now with water up to their chest on there.
Yeah.
All right.
But I love how she says the water's not going to get any higher.
Yeah,
like,
the tour guide girl.
Like, how does she know that?
Yeah, that's my favorite.
It's not going to get any higher.
It's like, calm down, everybody. The water is not going to get high and higher. We have shark attacks all the time. Okay? Don't worry about it.
This is nothing out of the ordinary.
So I put in my notes, the crocodile hunter says mate now. And then Mike and Kay, they're coming up with the plan to get people out. Okay? And basically what they need to do is they need to go underwater and they need to seal up the tunnel, basically.
Yeah.
Okay? So Kay is thinking now, so Kay is now saying, I think Venezuela can use some trained whales over there. And Michael's all like, oh, if you're coming with me? All right. I was like, well, that ended that plot line. All right.
Yeah. So far, so good.
Yeah. So then we have this mustache guy gives a reporter the news about the trapped people and 7 people that got hurt. Calvin looks fucked. That's why I put in my notes, because he's all like, oh, fuck, this is all happening at my park.
Right.
Phil's talking to him. Nothing. Phil has a plan. Now Phil has a plan to get the shark back into the pipe and get him with live bait. All right. So Phil wants to, because, this is the biggest shark we've seen. And this is probably the biggest shark that Phil has seen. So he wants to know if he can either kill it or get pictures of it. So that's why he agrees to come up with this plan to get the shark back into the pipe so they could trap the shark in there, basically.
Yeah. What a genius plan this is.
So at first they're like, this is a crazy plan and everything. He's like, how are you even going to lure him there? It's like, well, I'm going to lure him with some live bait. All right.
Yes.
So we have Calvin and Kay. They go to the control room. Calvin wants to know where the damn fish is. Where's that damn fish at? Huh? Where's that fish at? Oh, man. Guess it's right there in my lungs.
Guess so.
So Phil and Jack, they're getting ready. They want Jack to bring the camera. They agree. Everyone's in place and they get going. They start doing some traps set up for the shark. All right. And now this is when Brody goes in, because basically, Jack and Philip are going to try to get the shark and distract him and get in the pipe while Brody goes in to try to repair the underwater tanker. Okay.
Right.
So all this is happening, and we're supposed to believe that Philip Fitzroy is the greatest photographer, and he can outmaneuver sharks, and he's the greatest of all time. Yet he's in this ocean. The first thing that happens is his fucking rope breaks, and he just drops the camera.
Yep.
And then he gets attacked by the shark. And I thought this scene out of the whole movie was the most fucked up scene in the film that actually disturbed me a little bit. Where Philip is fighting the shark, but he's fighting the shark within his mouth. Like he's inside the shark's mouth and shit. So the shark is trying to swallow him while he's trying to fight to get out. And I thought that shit was creepy as shit.
Yeah, that was pretty creepy. I like that. I like that scene a lot, actually.
Because he's in there and everything, right? And he's trying to get out, but every time he tries to get out, it bites his arm. All right, so he's trying to get out in different ways and everything. And he's in scuba gear, half his body is down the fucking thing's throat, and eventually, he's moving around, and then it gets the back of him and starts biting him, and then he just kind of eases down to its throat there.
Right.
And I was like, fuck, that is some creepy shit, bro. I couldn't imagine it being in some sort of fish or whale or anything. It's throat, where it's trying to ingest you whole. Ugh, that's fucked up.
Ugh, wow. Yeah.
All right, so now Kay is now worried about Michael because Michael doesn't have any backup, so she shoots up. Calvin calls her crazy. she's like, don't worry about it. So she goes in there and she's going to go watch Michael's back. All right. All right. So now Calvin's telling everyone to shut the pipes down. All right. So Jack comes up. He's looking for Philip. He can't find Philip. He doesn't know where he went. All right. Brody's blowing the pipes. Kay goes to him. Shark is now breaks out of the area that he was in, like the T-Rex on Jaws. That's what I said. All right. Kay sees the shark. She runs Brody. They hide. And then we have Flipper, a.k.a. Standy, comes to the rescue, brother.
Oh, yeah.
And helps them.
The face. Yep. The face dolphins come and help.
The face dolphin comes, brother.
Yep.
I mean, why do we even, listen, this is Jaws 3D, man. It made us Free Willy. It made us have Flipper. I mean, this is a revolutionary movie, man. All right.
Yeah, this movie should have just been about the dolphins.
The dolphins, yeah.
And the shark.
Exactly.
Dolphins versus the shark. That's
right.
What else do we need?
So Michael and Kay, they get stuck in the water level room. All right. All right, and then they get the all right, so hold on. So Mike and Kelly, they're stuck in like the water level room, and they're trying to close the door, but the tooth's on there. But then they finally close the door. Okay, like after the tooth kind of goes up, and then they go up. They go up on the in the water level room. Okay, and they ask how did it get loose? Like how did this thing get loose out there? All right, and then that's when they can see like the water level is going down now, and then all the people that were trapped in there, now they can leave. Okay. So now the great white Jaws fish shark knows what's going on. It knows that its plan was foiled by Michael and Sean. It knows that his food has been let go from the tunnel room. So now this shark, who has been floating in the water in 3D, sees the control room, and it's like, you know what? I'm just going to run into that fucking glass.
This scene is either, I can't decide if it's either fantastic or one of the worst things I've seen in movie history.
Okay, I got a couple of questions.
So slow.
Yeah, slowest thing ever.
Ask me your question. Ask me the question, and then we'll go from there. I don't even know what to say about this.
So I never I never rode into glass in the water. You know what I mean? But I'm sure, like it wouldn't break like that.
You mean where it just shatters?
Yeah,
no, I don't think so. I'm not a scientist.
Yeah.
But I don't think so. I just
I don't know. So it shatters into the thing, and the shark doesn't die. It's still okay. It's like perfectly fine.
Yeah, of course.
He just breaks glass normally.
Shark. Yeah, it's like a super heel. It's like there's no way that you get that's gonna kill him. Because I was thinking, like, could you even get enough speed to break glass? But it is a shark, so sharks swim really fast in the water. They're designed to do that. So maybe it could hit it hard enough to break it.
Yeah.
Underwater. But like, I don't think that it would shatter like that. It definitely wouldn't shatter to animated pieces like it does in this thing. I'm pretty sure they just drew that as animation.
Yeah.
And it just moves so slow. Yeah. Like you can't, if you haven't seen this, for the people out there, if you have not watched this movie, you cannot imagine how fucking slow this shark is moving. It's like slower than slow motion, and it's just moving. And all of a sudden, it just gets to where the window is, and the shark prop or whatever they use just stops. And then then the glass, just like animated glass, just like moves into the camera lens. It's the most absurd thing that we've seen on this movie and a show in a long time. And we've done some crazy ass shit on this show before.
And I'm thinking like, this is a tiny control room. And the shark was big enough to break the glass, but he would still be able to swim around the control room.
Apparently.
I do like it, though, when he broke the glass, he went right from the control guy. We know he was going to be cannon fodder.
Yeah. Yeah, he might as well have been wearing a red shirt. Like, he was definitely cannon fodder.
Yeah, and then Calvin gets away. All right. And then this is when we see that during all the melee, Michael and Kay suited up during all the melee. Can you suit up in a water suit underwater?
Maybe. Probably not, though. I think they're pretty tight.
So now they see Mike and Kay do that the big fish, the big Jaws shark, 35 length shark, has Philip in his throat, but Philip also has a grenade on his hand. So now their plan is to detonate the grenade while they're fighting this shark. So Kay keeps trying. He keeps trying. Michael kind of like distracts the shark while she's trying, and eventually Kay gets it, and she basically gets like with a hook, and the grenade was on the grenade was kind of like on Phil's hand, and she grabs the grenade and she pops it. All right, and then a big explosion happens, like in all of our Jaws movies, and that's when the shark, the biggest shark in length, is destroyed by explosions.
Yeah.
Yep. Right? And we had dead shark body parts flying at us in 3D with the shark's jaw flying through us in 3D.
Well, yeah, it's almost like his teeth, right? His
teeth,
top jaw and his bottom jaw is kind of floating there. Like, this was fucking terrible.
What's more metal than that? That was fantastic.
Well, that was pretty metal.
This is 1983 metal right there, brother.
Oh my god! Yeah,
you don't have no exploding shark in your music video, do you?
No, I don't. Go. That's true. It's just hilarious that the dead body of this guy still holding this grenade.
Yeah.
Through like the last 20 minutes of this movie. And all of a sudden he's able to hook it.
Yeah.
And then pull the pin of the grenade and kill the shark.
Remember Kay, she's an expert at this stuff.
Well, true. That's true. She's all about that, I guess.
She's the fish expert.
She is the fish expert.
Right. She's the final girl with Michael. Their final couple. All right. So now they all get out. Mike and Kay, they get up. All right. And then they're like, "Oh, I think I saw Calvin escape." But they're like, "Where is Sandy? Where is Sandy? Okay?" And then Sandy comes out of the water like she's Flipper.
Yeah.
Taking all his glory, comes out and she's okay. Sandy's okay. Yes. And I put, just like the Flipper movie, we're over, and we get a still shot, and we end the movie, and that's it. Jaws 3 is ended, brother. What more do you need?
That's it. What more do you need?
Free Willy, Little Flipper, Jurassic Park, move aside. We're talking about the OG over here, brother. We're talking about the Jaws 3D. All right? What more do you need, man? You got dead fish. You know, Alison, I think you're a little hater, man.
I am a little hater. I don't like this movie.
You got fish body parts in 3Ds. You got your
crazy.
You got your crabs in 3Ds. You got fucking Michael Brody doing cocaine, falling down everywhere. What more do you want? What more do you want?
Exactly.
Bro? All right. So I don't know, man. This one was something. It was vastly different than Jaws 1 and 2. I mean, like, it wasn't even on the same universe, to be honest with you.
No.
Like,
it's vastly different.
Like, the writing and the characters and everything was, like, more realistic in Jaws 1 and 2, even though it is, there's some stuff that was unrealistic in those movies, but they made it seem realistic. This movie was just all fucking 80s.
Yeah, well, right. That's what I was going to say. It's very cartoony, like just about everything was in the 80s. Like, everything is over the top and super cartoony. Yeah. And it's like, WWE or WWF in 1983 or 84
over the top
versus like Jim Crockett in 1984. It was like, that's what we went from one to the other. And it's just over the top super characters, like, it's a super shark, and we have super dolphins, and super face dolphins and super heel sharks, and
Sean
it's
being the useless character. What the fuck? Why is he even in the movie?
Why is he even in this movie? But wait till next week, though. You're in for a treat. We got Jaws the Revenge.
I never seen Jaws Revenge, which we're doing next week here on the Retro Blood. Okay. And then on that episode, we will tell you the other 2 shark movies that we found that are not in the Jaws franchise, but they're still shark movies from the 80s. So I was reading notes. They're saying that this movie made profit. Like I said earlier, it made profit even though it had negative reviews. Okay. But it was like, it's
a lot of people went to see it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, also too, like, so Jaws 3D got negative reviews, but it also got praise too. So there's a lot of people that love the film. There's a lot of people that don't like it. Apparently, our next movie, Jaws: The Revenge, gets universally praised as being a shitty film.
Yes.
So I guess we'll see. We'll see, brother. You never know. I might like it. You know what I mean? Maybe I'll be a big Jaws Revenge
I'm
guy.
interested to see. I don't want to say too much about it. I saw Jaws Revenge in the movie theaters. It was the first Jaws movie I saw in the theaters.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil anything for you. I want you to go into it.
Yeah. Fresh eyes.
Fresh. Yeah. It is different again. It's different in a different way.
Okay.
We'll put it that way.
Shout out really quick though to the movie poster that we had for this Jaws movie. I thought it was pretty fun with the big shark and the 2 people skiing. I thought that was cool. So shout out to that.
Yeah, because they kind of took they kind of moved on the theme of Jaws 2 a little bit into Jaws 3.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool.
Yeah. But everybody, thanks for joining us here on The Retro Blood as we start off 1980s shark movies here on The Retro Blood. The Deep Blue Sea is going to be our subject for this whole month. And like I said, join us for Jaws Revenge. And everybody, thanks for listening on the YouTubes. Subscribe to the YouTubes. Check us out on Podbeam, Stitcher Radio, Apple Music, all this stuff. Or Apple Podcast. Amazon.
Yeah.
Find us on all there, brother. Like us on there. Subscribe. And for all of our podcast listeners, Alison, what Manowar song should we leave them with today to get on out of here in 3D?
Man, let's play Gloves of Metal.
Gloves of Metal, brother. Because if this great white shark had some gloves, you damn sure would have been those gloves of metal. All right?
Yeah.
It would have been clanking and banging. It would have got those tubes open. It would have ate those people. And it went on its merry ways. Just like we will be doing right here, right now. J.H. Alison, James Kline. We'll see you here next week for Jaws: The Revenge.
See you guys. You'll enjoy this one.
I bet. I guess we'll see.